What's up, guys? Connor behind the camera here with Guns and Stuff, and what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to try to make it quick, nice and quick with a lot of information. I'm going to talk about the TA11 ACOG. This is mine. I've had it for about a year and a half. I've had a lot of rounds through this on my SCAR. I've had a decent amount on it through my AR-15, my Colt. So a few things. If you don't know, ACOG stands for Advanced Combat Optical Gun Sight. Very tough, very durable optic. This is the TA11. That's what I'm reviewing today. 3.5 power by 35. So it's a fixed variable optic. So it's a fixed optic. So there's no variable zoom. You're not going to go from 3.5 to 6 or anything like that. It is what it is. There's no adjustments. You have your windage elevation here, and those are in 1 and 3 MOA. So if you're shooting at 100 yards, 3 clicks is going to move your impact about an inch either way, whatever way you want. Up here, you can see it's taped up. We'll talk about that later. This is the fiber optic, and there's tritium insert in this. So what that's going to do is pretty much when light goes through this fiber optic, it's going to make the reticle brighter or more dim, depending on what lighting you're in. So say it's really, really bright out, all that light's going to go in through this and make the reticle really bright. Vice versa at night. So if you're at night, there's going to be no light getting into this at all. So what that tritium insert does is it's going to light that reticle up very dim, so at night you can still have your reticle. There's no battery in this at all. The reticle is always lit up. This one happens to be green, and it happens to be a crosshair. We'll talk about that later. All right, so you see the reticle there. The room I'm in has a little bit of light, but not a lot. You can still make out that green reticle, and as you can see, it is definitely noticeable. Now I got my flashlight. I'm gonna put some light on it. See how it's getting way bright? That's the fiber optic. So if it was sunny out, it would look, whatever, something like that. As soon as the light goes away, like that. Another thing I want to add is this reticle, the crosshair is etched in the glass. So if I take away all that fiber optic, that crosshair is still there. So there's still a crosshair for you to shoot. So say it's really bright or really dark, you don't have anything, you can still see a crosshair so you can make accurate shots. Do that one more time. So moderate light looking out. Gonna add some light. Take all the light away, and it is still light in there. It's just kind of hard to pick up with my iPhone camera, but that's it. That's the fiber optic tritium stuff working together in the ACOG right there. So that's definitely one of the selling points, and I don't know if I mentioned a forged aluminum alloy housing. Very tough, very durable. Marine Corps, I know they go through basic training with the TA11 ACOG, and if it works for them, I think it's pretty darn tough. So TA11 ACOG. A couple things, like I said, 3.5 power. You got a 35mm objective lens, so that's about a 29-foot field of view at 100 yards. So if you were looking at 100 yards, if you looked all the way to the left of the optic, all the way to the right, it's going to be about 29 feet, give or take. It's about 8 inches long. As you can see here, it's not the smallest optic ever. And the point of an ACOG pretty much is have a combat style compact rifle scope with low magnification that's going to increase your hit chances at any light that's around you. So that's pretty much the point of the ACOG. About 14 ounces alone with just the optic with this mount, which is the I think it's TA11 Trijicon ACOG mount 51, something like that. This is about over a pound, so it's definitely not a light optic. It's a pretty chunky, beefy optic, so that's something to think about, and we'll talk about that in the future. So I said field of view, about 29 feet at 100 yards. Eye relief, about 2.4 inches stated on the website. It definitely is a little bit more generous than that. I've had no complaints with the eye relief on the TA11 at all. One thing that I'm really not a fan of, there's two main things I'm not really a fan of, and one, I have to tape this up because there's this much fiber optic, and when light gets into that, this reticle just gets way too bright for my liking. That's just me personally. It's a lot of fiber optic here. I have about 85% of it covered up, and this is fine for me. Even in the bright sunlight, it just, this much works. There's just a lot there. And another main thing, I probably should tell you guys this now. I've had this optic for a year and a half. I am trading it tomorrow for a TA33, and I'll go over why a little bit later. But the one thing that I do not like about this is the reticle that I picked, which is the crosshair. I have a green crosshair. I have no complaints about the green. The portion of the country that I live in, we have a lot of grass, a lot of trees. We're not really in a desert. We're not really in not really many mountains and stuff. So the green crosshair, I've had no problems with it. It's a very neon bright green. It stands out in wildlife and stuff like, not wildlife, but nature. It stands out in nature. Definitely not a grass green, if that makes any sense. It's a very bright neon green. But the crosshair I do not like. I'm going to trade this tomorrow for a red chevron, which is what I want now that I've been thinking about it. The crosshair is just a little too thick for my liking. It's a little bit too bold. And the ACOG is not a precision optic at all. It is not meant to be a precision optic. It's meant to be a tough, durable, compact, low magnification optic that is good for fighting, for minute of man shooting. I have shot sub MOA groups with this on my SCAR. I have done it, but more than not, I'm not going to be shooting match grade ammo through this on my SCAR. That's just not how it is. That crosshair is just a little too thick for me. I just don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like the green crosshair. So I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. If you are thinking about getting one of these, really think about your reticle. I think the reticle is more important than the color, honestly. Glass clarity on the ACOG it's beautiful. I mean, it's not European made glass or anything, but it's very clear glass. No complaints at all. I've had this in the cold. I've had this in the heat. No, functionality wise, no issues at all. It holds zero. I mean, it's just a good optic. The ACOGs are great. Now, why I'm trading this? I'm going to go with the TA33. For me, when this is on my SCAR, it's just kind of weighted weird. Like, if I want some magnification, I'm either going to have a longer range, like a Vortex or a nice loophole or something, and it's going to be heavy. This, if I could add, like, say I add 8 more ounces, I've got a nice long-range scope, and I've got way less magnification with this. It's just, for me, it's a little too bulky, a little bit too big. I'm going to go with the smaller, lighter one. Not saying this is a bad optic. This is just my personal opinion after using it for a year and a half. It's just a little bit too big, a little bit too heavy for me. Now, I'm used to having an aim point on this, so, I mean, I'm used to a light rifle. I like a light rifle. I don't like stuff that heavy. But if I want a longer range precision DMR style rifle, I'm going to use my SCAR and I'm going to put a longer range optic on it. That's something I'm going to get in the future. So if you understand what I'm saying, that it's just for the magnification and the size and the weight, it just doesn't really mix well for me. I have had good hits with this. I'm not saying it's a bad optic by any means. I'm just going to go with the smaller, lighter TA33. It's just a weird place on my rifle. It's a weird place in my collection. It just adds a little bit extra weight than I would like, and that's really the bottom line. So, again, I have to tape up that fiber optic here. You can see all the tape. I have to tape that up because it's just way too bright when the sunlight is in there. A lot of fiber optic on this. But functionality-wise, it's excellent. The glass is clear, very tough optic. Like I said, I've had it for a year and a half, and I'm just trying to be real with you guys and tell you the pros and cons. Price-wise, definitely is a big con. These are not affordable by any means. But what I wanted magnification. I wanted it to be smaller and lighter than a rifle scope. So I ended up with this. I'm not a fan of the crosshair at all. That's why I'm trading this. Hopefully I like the TA33 a little bit better than this. So I think I went over everything here. Let me think. It's got the forged, very strong, durable housing, forged aluminum housing, 3.5 power fixed. So that's the TA11 ACOG, and you will not be seeing this anymore on Guns and Stuff, but I will have another ACOG on this rifle. So I think I went over everything. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.